Hello. First time playing Higurashi koro. It is a bit of a weird one. Oh, look at that. My stream info is outdated. Just a moment. Need to remember what I was going to type. And the game category. Done. Just gonna start right away. And it looks so weird on my screen over there. Onikak Shield. Welcome to the world of Higurashi when they cry. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening inviting you into this world. Don't play tough. Please, just enjoy life in Hinamizawa to the fullest. Difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy the reward. There's difficulty in this? Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if you will not forgive the world. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Frederica Berncastel. A lot of. Oh, this is a world of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or organizations is entirely coincidental. 1983, the early summer of the 58th year of the show era. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly, sobbing voice. And those tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical, repetitious sound finally stilled, and everything fell silent. Is this on auto mode? Only the cry of the cicadas remained, annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She is no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion, because there were none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. But then why this pain? My eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I had wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind. With her. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were, because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Perhaps I really did love you. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. Turn down that speed a bit now I have this choice. Just in case, I'm going to turn this down to see if those scenes are slowed down a bit. Turn down the BGM a bit. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I'd last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I had lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads, the melodious cacophony of the crosswalk. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, and the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There is nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints. There aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town has some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody is still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing, even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey, you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally aroused from my nap by my father's prodding. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local roads. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window and the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even from the same era. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountains. It's nice backgrounds, like painted. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up. There, where I live now, Hinamizawa. Sound of summer. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although, in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. I was not expecting this kind of music. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably working up until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. He painted this entire game. Such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that, though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice, or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with the egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning. That was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Reina-chan? Hurry, hurry. Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Reina is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame. But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Reina wait there every morning for me? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Reina-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I had known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning! Get ready for it? Oh, it's updated. Keiichi-kun. Show that real quick. Original. This is why I remembered seeing this a long time ago. I wonder if the backgrounds are updated as well. Or if it's just they did really good work on the backgrounds way back when. Good morning! Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust, without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Reina had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Reina seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Uh, thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Rana. No matter how long. Uh, uh, forever? Rana turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Rena? Huh? Ah, I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh, yeah. Message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine to just be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Rena? Or was it your mom? Huh? Huh? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Rena, or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. Huh? 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 She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. And me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep Neon waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she'd just keep spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Rena Ryugu. I had only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Boom, 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 boom. Mii-chan, good morning! Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Ah, finally, you two are late. Now to see the original. Yeah. Thumbs up. Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Rena, and it's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only off 2 days. You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze stared at my chest and dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So she was saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now it's just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh morning air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Yeah, I'm sure it does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Rena began to ramble in a near panic. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was it, seeing the city again? Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changed the topic to something more befitting the pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral, I didn't have much time. So yeah, did you look for it? That thing I asked for. You're not listening at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here, after all. Is this about games again, Mii-chan? Mian nodded proudly as Rena giggled. Yep, I wanted Kei-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog. Westport catalog. Oh, Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mian is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mian's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you think I'd understand, let me play too. Of course. If Kei-chan is up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Whoa. And we'll let you in the group this time, I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Randa looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Randa laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in so they won't feel like they have to try to make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it should probably be about right for this place. Hinamisawa was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. That class encompasses all different grades and ages. There are about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that long ago, there used to be a bigger school building and they had actual separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class, and now it's stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us until then, suddenly let me take the lead, right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Too bad, I wasn't going to fall for that again. To think you'd go with the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mian chuckled with a haughty smirk on her face. But what is it, you guys? Step back, Reina. It's dangerous. She's here. Huh? Then Satoko-chan is... Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it would be immature to get worked up over just that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap, a blackboard eraser wedged in the door. It's too obvious, Satoko. A haughty laugh came from behind the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess that means you win this round? No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps. Traps that were simply there to bait you into the main one. Traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. Why would it be a Rube Goldberg machine? I gotta look this up. Rube Goldberg. Oh, it's a comic, I guess. Oh, a machine. Named after him. It's a chain reaction type machine. Oh, okay, so it's literally like Mousetrap and whatnot. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. How do you load it? I guess you could in those little slits. So then why don't you just open the door and let it drop? That's what it is. That's what Satoko was after, making me focus my attention upward. So as I lifted my hand to the door, there were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape. A frightening trap. A potent and terrifying trap. Concealed by using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko. But in the end, nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. I felt something strange at my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had me, hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picturesque manner. Kei-chan, watch out! Instinctively reacting to Mion's chivalrous warning, I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the floor. Ow, ow, ow! An inkstone filled to the brim was placed right where I was landed. I shuddered, imagining the situation had it landed square on it. My, what do we have here? Fair morning to you, Keiichi-san. Aren't we a lively one this morning? She looks so much more childish in this one. This one looks very impish, though. I like this one. Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. That was a step up from your usual traps, Satoko. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning. You little... It seemed I had inadvertently sprained my back a little when I had landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. A small hand gently rubbed my head. Pain, pain, go away. The small, dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head. You didn't sprain your back or anything, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears. Nice. I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts. Yeah, thanks, Riku-chan. The pain's going away now. Yay, Riku-chan! Good morning! Good morning to you, Reina. A good morning to all. Riku-chan greeted each of us with an adorable little bow. It was infectious. Reina, Mion, and I all bowed back. You're such a good kid, Riku-chan. So much better than Satoko. I glared over in her direction. Satoko was whistling while rather deliberately trying to avoid eye contact. I am the very model of a good girl. A good girl wouldn't set those nasty traps. Nothing but lies and slander. Exactly what proof? What? I picked up Satoko by the back of her collar. She looked like a misbehaved cat when I do this. But a cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's much harder to deal with. I'm sorry. Oh, it's him. I-M-S-O-R-R-Y. Try saying that. If you won't say it, I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as it brought it closer to Satoko's forehead. I'm against violence. You don't even have any proof. Just so you know, my forehead flick really hurts. It can split plywood right in half. Eek! Stop, get away from me, you beast. Don't say that in a way people will misunderstand. A small hand tugged on the back of my shirt. She's been lonely since you were gone for 2 days. Riku-chan really is just so... water break. How could I do anything more after being told that? I gently released my grip on Satoko, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clamped shut as she braced herself for the forehead flick. It doesn't bother me. You mustn't cry, Satoko. Keep on fighting. Yeah. Rika gently patted the head of her prankster friend. You would never guess those two are the same age. I think Satoko could learn a thing or million from Rika-chan. Next time, set an even more amazing trap. Wait a minute. As she observed the scene, Rena's expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon. Oh, Satoko-chan is crying. So cute. You can't take them home. Ooh, but they're so cute. You can't, no matter how cute they are. But just for a bit is fine. Is it fine? Rena kept a cutesy face as the outrageous ideas spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Rena is ridiculously weak to cute things and always tries to take them home. Object or person. Stealing is bad, but abducting people is even worse. Give it up. Then I can just look. Just looking. That should be fine, right? Right? Rena swooned over Satoko's crying form. If a girl ever goes missing in Hinamizawa, I'll be forced to turn Rena into the authorities. Forgive me, Rena. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you away. The teacher's coming. Quickly, clean everything up. Satoko, that inkstone is yours, right? Just from Mion's single statement, the entire mood of the room shifted back to normal. The inkstone was bad, but the thumbtack stuck to the door handle were an even bigger problem. I pulled the tape off carefully, making sure not to skewer myself. Even though Satoko was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bedlam from before had been neatly tidied up. We made it in time. Rise. Attention. Mion gave out the morning commands. It's difficult being the teacher for all these different grades in one classroom. She has to teach something different to each one, but naturally she ends up spending all her time with the younger kids. Rena and Mion, being in the highest grade in the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems like they can never get to their own studies. They're actually way behind where my studies have progressed to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over for the teacher and helping Rena and Mion with their studies. Rion. You're a pretty good teacher, Keiichi-kun. Easy to understand. Rena took a breather after finishing highlighting an important section. Teaching is making me lose confidence. It makes me aware of how shallow my understanding of the subject is. They say that to teach someone something, you need to understand it backwards and forwards. So while you're teaching us, you're getting in your own practice. In contrast, this person over here is quite, like, says fair about things. I always forget how to pronounce that first one. For one, isn't she supposed to be in a higher grade than me? Look, Mion, this is for your own good. If you don't take this seriously, there will be trouble later on. With these marks? It's not like I'm aiming to go on to a prestigious school. I'll be fine as long as I pick up what I need to know for the entrance exams a little at a time. Her staunch defiance was really something else. This was a different type of relaxed than somebody who already knew what was going on to be on the exam, which is exams. Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun is doing his best to teach us. We need to try hard too. You're such a good and honest kid, Rena. I'll make sure you guys get accepted into a good school. What? Thanks so much. Especially you, Rena. Private lessons. Just the two of us. Private lessons? A puff of smoke shaped like a halo popped out of Rena's head. Exactly what kind of private lesson is she fantasizing about that's making her turn so red? I'd like to hear the play-by-play about that next time. While Mion was flipping through her vocabulary flashcards, she threw out a casual question. So, in the city, do you have to study this much? If you don't know at least this much, you can't get into a university. So you study just to get into a university? Well, yeah, basically. While knowing that this stuff won't ever come in handy in the future. Out here, you can get into university as long as your attendance is good enough. Really? Study equals entrance exams. Having that basic law of the universe so easily overturned sent me into a state of shock. That's right. There aren't really enough people around here to warrant weeding them out with an exam. If anyone can get into university, then there's no need to be all uptight about this stuff, right? Well, that's true, but you should at least know the stuff that's common knowledge. This old geezer thinks that instead of wasting time studying pointlessly, you should be spending your precious teen years doing more meaningful things. It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off. But since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning. In place of a chime, the sound of the principal waving a handbell drifted through the classroom. Kei-chan, we're done! We're done! It's our wonderful lunchtime! In a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Mion gave the commands that signaled the end of the morning period. Keiichi-kun, let's have lunch! I bet I'm making a very troubled face. Reina smiled brightly at me. Alright, let's eat. There seemed to be different cliques, even within the class. Most of them were divided up by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, and we had both boys and girls. But we weren't reserved around each other. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me pretty happy. Rena and Mion pushed their desks together so they were facing each other. At the same time, Satoko and Rika-chan were slowly lugging their desks over as well. Keiichi-kun, hurry, hurry! Rena waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Unless everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their lunchboxes. Keiichi-san's lunchbox is most assuredly filled with nothing but bread crusts like some sort of destitute plebeian. Why don't you just show it to us? Come now! Even though Satoko was hurling insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid to her lunchbox until I was there. I pulled out my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. Well then, Representative Me, please give the signal to start. At first, this was kinda embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have been all different, but we were all friends. Let's eat! The sound of our little 5-part chorus echoed beautifully through the classroom. Really, though, I gotten pretty used to this group made up of all girls. Of course there are other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were scared to approach me. Well, it's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Compare that to girls. Well, at least these girls aren't picky. We put all the side dishes in the middle where everybody was free to pick at them. I thought girls would mind sharing a meal with a guy, so I was a bit flustered joining in. However, Mia noticed that and teased me quite a bit. As the fruit of my efforts, I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's lunch. My, isn't Sir Keiichi's lunch extravagant today? My, isn't Madame Satoko's lunch extravagant as well? The stew stuff has a nice look to it, rather trendy. Buying into the fight that Satoko was starting, our chopsticks locked in a cross-counter, stabbing into each other's lunch. My, how delicious! Well, this taro is good. The stewed stuff is good too, even cold. After seeing my happy face, Rika-chan's expression broke into a little smile. I saved some from dinner last night. By the way, Satoko and Rika-chan's lunches are always the same. It seems that Rika-chan makes it for both of them every day. Rika-chan made this too? These taste like Mom's home cooking. I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold, they were done by hand with a knife. That's not easy to do. I guess Rika-chan's just good at this sort of thing. She's really good at sewing, laundry, and stuff like that. Amazing, right? Amazing! Rika is quite exceptional in many ways. Oh. That's nothing for you to boast about. Ren is actually better at cooking than I am. Huh? Well, you know. It seemed that the topic of conversation switched to Rena when she wasn't expecting it, making her blush and trip over her words. Rena's lunch really was the star of the table. Not only did it look good, it tasted good. Everyone else pulled from Rena's lunchbox constantly. Everyone liked this so much before, so I made a lot this time. It's good, I hope. It's got higher marks from me. Ah, Mion, you're taking too much. Knocking Mion's chopsticks aside, I reach out, trying to secure my own portion. Satoko and Rika-chan reached over at the same time, and a struggle ensued. Everyone shoveled in mouthful after mouthful while praising it, and Rena's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kind of bad that no one thought to leave any for Rena. But Rena seemed rather satisfied as she looked on. How did you like it? Isn't Rena-san an extremely good cook too? Quite different from Gage-san. I said that's nothing for you to boast about. You're not much different from Gage-chan, Satoko. Can you tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower yet? Satoko's face went pale. Hey, even I can tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower, you know. Of course I can. I really can. It's really hard for her to lie. Kage-kun, both taste good when they're boiled and topped with mayonnaise, right? You shouldn't be picky on her. Mi-chan too. Broccoli with mayonnaise. I suppose it's basically ranch for some people. Rena hurriedly tried to follow up, but Mion laughed haughtily as she drew closer to Satoko. Well, just pretend it's a little home ec lesson. Now then, Satoko, what's this? Mion lifted up her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon. But that's asparagus. Mion made eye contact with me, and within 0.3 seconds, I had Rika's mouth covered. Holding a piece of bacon-wrapped asparagus and giving her two choices. She's pretty terrible. The yellow one is cauliflower. No, wait, the green one is cauliflower. So which? Probably the yellow one is broccoli and the blue one is cauliflower, but the green one is, Do you really know which is which? How about you just give up? I'd expect no less from the class representative, the oldest. The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience she has. This is just the hunch, but being brought into the Sonozaki household must be quite the ordeal. I do know. I really do. Then answer the question. I know. She finally broke down and started crying. When she acts like this, she actually starts to seem her age. Oh, cute! Rena entered a state of euphoria as Satoko bawled her eyes out. Rena was in a state of bliss as she rubbed her cheek against Satoko's head and smothered her. Really, a very content face. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right then. It was that kind of smile. Rena, Mimi is picking on me. Cute. It's okay. Rena and Achan will take care of all those bad people who tease my little sister. Whoosh, poof, bam. It was like a flash of lightning. What was that? Just now? Both of Rena's fists shot out at supersonic speeds, striking Mion and me squarely in our faces. Before we knew it, Mion and I was sprawled spread eagle on the floor, staring up at the ceiling with matching welts on our faces. This is the first time you've gotten one, right? Today she went easy on us. Easy? You mean there's something harder than this? With that, Mion and I both slumped our heads back to the floor in unison. From now on, I'll be careful when I'm within striking distance of Rena. See, Satoko-chan, I took care of them. Cute. I want to take you home. Making sure Rena couldn't see it, Satoko stuck her tongue out at us. Damn it all, using Rena like a puppet. Rika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. No matter what the day had held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off into the distance. Hey, Kage-kun, tomorrow, do you have any plans or anything? Huh? It was such a direct question from Rena, I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, then wouldn't you do it more subtly? Rena saw me lost for words and realized I had misunderstood, and turned red as well. No, I didn't mean it like that, you see? So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it's always fun when Rana's in a panic, I went along with it a little. Oh, really? So it wasn't meant that way. Huh? Huh? Playing it up, I slumped my shoulders, feigning dejection. Keiichi-kun, why are you so disappointed? Why? Why? Mii-chan! Unable to hold it in any longer, Mion slapped me on the back. I see, this old geezer never knew you could push her buttons like that. Huh? Huh? What? What is it? Mion was only on the floor, clutching her stomach while Reina flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well. Feeling just a bit guilty, I ruffled Reina's hair. Kidding, sorry. It was just a joke. That was my fault. She really is a cute one. Huh? Huh? A joke? Since when? Since when? About halfway through. Halfway? So Kei-chan, that means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start? Huh? That means... It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mion would let such a delectable detail slip by her. Oh, well, you see. Saying anything more was also a bad idea. In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while. So, why were you asking if I'm free tomorrow, Reina? Huh? Oh, what were we talking about? It had been so long that Reina had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me. It's just Kei-chan. You probably can't find your way around Hinamizawa by yourself yet, can you? That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we were playing pin the tail on a donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell up from down here. Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school. Yes, so you see, tomorrow we were thinking that Mii-chan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa and show you around. That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer. You'll come, of course, right? If I'm free. You're being invited by a girl, you know. If I'm free. You're probably free anyways. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as to not give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say so up front. Keiichi-kun, you're not free, perhaps? Perhaps? While Mion and I had a rather sour back and forth, Reina peeked over at me hesitantly. Figuring I had been a bit too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry, forgive me. I apologize. I'm free. Great! The trepidation disappeared from Reina's face as it blossomed into a smile. Hey now. Seems like there's quite a bit difference between how cold you are compared to Reina, isn't there? It seems Mion didn't care for how rude I was to her, compared to how quickly I agreed with Reina. But her being annoyed was very interesting. So I pushed Reina forward, speeding up our pace to leave Mion behind. Let's go, Reina. Maybe it should just be the 2 of us tomorrow. Leave grumpy old Mion behind. Huh? Well, Keiichi-kun is okay with that then. I'm the one who came up with the idea to take him around. Don't ignore me, Keiichi Maibara. It'd be great if the 2 of us could go on a picnic together. Should we bring a basket, Reina? If we're bringing a basket, I'll make all the food, maybe. Maybe. Don't you ignore me too, Reina. I'll tell everyone that you 2 disappeared into the whole hotel district together. Well then, I'm going home right now to start making it. Tomorrow's going to be so fun. Later, Keiichi-kun, Mii-chan, bye! Reina bounded off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion sprawled out on the ground. There was a welt on her face. Are you alright? It was over 2 meters between you guys. Since you came, they've become sharper. This old geezer's body can't handle it. Maybe it'd be easier if you stopped saying stuff that makes Reina want to hit you. Or else this will end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. If that happened, the results might be fatal. Don't feel bad, Mion. You're probably the only one who can dodge her jabs. Dodge her jabs. It felt like it was her knee, though. Could it be that we were hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in an extreme contact sport. You can't lose to Rana. You need to train up and have a rematch. Okay, Chan. You should... This old geezer root for you. Mion and I reaffirmed our determination to discover a way to counter Reina's infallible technique. I read too fast for speaking out loud. I wonder if these are just like photos that they like painted over or something. You have received new tips. We're a mixed grade. We don't have a uniform? What is... What? What does that mean? Huh? Is it just that? So, Reina, we're the same age? Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal, too. Hey, now, it would be weird if we were the same age but not the same zodiac animal. That's not true. If your birthday isn't the same, then you can have different animals even if you're the same age. Huh? Oh, I see. Yeah, you're pretty smart. What month were you born, by the way, Cage-kun? I'm July. Rana smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday is a wee bit sooner than mine, is she? Don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday. I wouldn't even mind if you bet $1 per month. Huh? Huh? Why? Why? Rana panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. Given how panicked she is, I'm certain she doesn't have much allowance left this month. It's just, sending her into a panic about something as simple as a birthday is so fun, I can't help myself. So that means you were born in April, Kei-chan? Right on. Too bad, Rana. I'm already far older than Rana. Oh, I see. You're the same age as me, Chan. Well, it's just a few months. That gap will open up again soon enough. Mion snickered through her nose. Hey now, that's not something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a higher grade, right, Mion? If you're into underclassmen, then I can be an underclassman from now on. Mii-chan, you're not making any sense to me. Just by seeing Rana's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by it, though. Then Satoko and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grade is so different they should be in a different school, shouldn't they? Keiichi-kun, your tastes are a bit too young, I think. You aren't making any sense yourself, Rana. I'll just grab onto her head and scruff it up a bit. Oh, stop it! I wondered about it before, yeah. I was wondering why the school has different school years all mixed up. There aren't enough classrooms. Can't help it. This building's being rented from the forestry services after all. What? When she says it like that, it makes sense. I thought our school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel, there are rooms that aren't for classes, and there's some strange sort of construction machinery parked here. Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school? There wasn't one here forever from before the war. It got dilapidated. They closed it down. It probably was a grand old schoolhouse. Well, because of that, students would have to attend the school in the city. It's pretty far though, you know? Which school would that be? Did you know there's a school if you pass by the Okunomiya train station, turn at the hospital, and head towards the pediatrics department? What? So far. I couldn't tell where that was by location, but I understood it was pretty far from Reina's reaction. Well, that's why. The guys that didn't want to commute to Okunomiya rented out the building from the forestry services and are attending the Suda schoolhouse here. About half the children in Hinamizawa go here. There are quite a lot of kids that come out here on bike. Well, since they're attending this really messed up school, it might be pretty hard for them to get into higher education. That's not true, Michan. If you study properly, you can go anywhere you want. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I totally agree with Rena on this one. Yes, that's right. That's right. Let's try our best. All of you try your best. This old man will be rooting for you. Not just us, you too. You should be preparing for exams, shouldn't you? Your future is bleak with grades like this. Fine, just fine. If I get stuck, then I'll just mooch off Kei-chan as he works forever. What do you mean by work forever? What do you mean? Hey, you're too loud. Be quiet during self-study. The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Satoko saw it all and chortled haughtily. I stuck out my tongue at her in response. It is just as Mion says. The school has nothing to do with higher education, but it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things other schools don't. I like these little, like, snippets or so on. Oh, look at that. They change poses when you mouse over them. I wonder. I wanted to see if the model changed it, or if this was, like, a new thing only. Yeah, exit real quick. Actually, I should finish it, because I guess it's saving and loading and so on. It's only June, but it's already so hot. Wait. It's June, but the mornings are cold. Oh well. I could hear the Higurashi outside chirping, me, 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 me. And at night there are mosquitoes. It might as well be summer already. My only salvation was that the mornings were still cool. Summer, I do declare. Sadako was flapping her skirt languidly. That's pretty unladylike there. Even if she was a little brat, she was still a girl. Keiichi does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous. From how I see things, the skirt you're wearing looks like it would be much cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand. Wearing jeans during the season and how steamy the crotch gets. It gets steamy? Oh. This girl is going to imagine something indecent. Ren's summer clothes have a nice refreshing color. I feel cooler just looking at them. Thank you. They really do feel pretty cool. I do wish my summer clothes were as breezy as Rena's. But Sadako-chan, your summer clothes are so cute being a one piece and all. I'd like to wear your summer clothes. This is actually quite stuffy, you know. I do believe what you're wearing would feel much cooler. But it would be so much more fun with cute clothes. Oh. I had a feeling that Ren and Satoko's base values were fundamentally different. Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform. Yeah, it doesn't. As long as they're proper, then regular clothes are fine. There are quite a few students in regular clothes. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design, rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing? They're all the same. That's the city school's uniform. It's not like there's a rule, but they're all wearing them. Speaking of which, everybody in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did you go out of your way to get them from somewhere? Why, yes. Mion-san supplied them. Michan's relatives runs a second-hand clothing store. They can get school clothes from all over the country for cheap, they say. So you asked those relatives to get a bunch of unique school uniforms then. That Mion, she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. It's cute. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's a second-hand clothing store, but stocking clothes from all over the country? Excuse me. That's pretty strange for a second-hand clothing store. What's the point in stocking up clothes from faraway schools they know nothing about? Yeah, I think so too. They all also have used school swimsuits and PE uniforms. I don't like the idea of having used ones. Doesn't sound like that shop makes much money. It's probably the opposite. They probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more. But Mion-san says it'll be a big hit and become a great store with such conviction. A second-hand clothing store that stocks school uniforms will be a big hit? I don't get it. Yeah, this was back in the 80s, so cosplay and so on was probably non-existent. Close to it, at least. I guess we save. That's the end of chapter 1. That's why it has this stuff. Here, I'll do one more chapter so I don't kill my voice. I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. Today was the day Rena and Mion were going to show me around Hinamizawa. Oh, their casual clothing. Rena and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place, which means I need to do this again. It's actually nice how they don't change the clothes that much, actually. Just, of course, the models. Kei-chan, you're late. Sorry. The show I was watching last night was really interesting. Blame that. Oh, so that's your excuse for being late and keeping 2 girls waiting? Mi-chan, you just got here yourself. Last night's episode of Day in the Life was interesting, wasn't it? She was just as guilty as me. Just doing the usual muted check. Rena was carrying a pretty heavy-looking handbag. What is that? Nan answered my unspoken question with a wink. That's right, Rena really did make a picnic. Hey, John, after you left, Rena pulled out all the stops. It's not like I forced her to do it. It was nothing, so don't worry about it, okay? She's been like this since last night, you know. Can you take responsibility for this? Alright. I am a man after all. I'll take responsibility. Huh? Responsibility? For what? For what? As we both turned around slowly to look at Rena, our gazes drifted downwards to the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible that it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except this was Rena we were talking about here. About 2 kilos, I guess? Jeez. Isn't that around? No, I'm thinking the wrong way, aren't I? No, I'm pretty sure I'm right. It's like 5 pounds. When Rena was picking it up, I could see she was struggling a bit. 5 pounds? Struggling? I'd say 5. Okay, that makes sense. You're exaggerating. Kage-kun is a boy after all. I thought you could probably eat a lot, so I made a lot. Okay? Let's get going. Heave-ho! Just from the way she was lifting it up, I couldn't believe the only things in there were lunchboxes. Correction, I'd say 5 kilos too. I'll help out, but all of it needs to be eaten. I won't forgive you if you make Rena sad, got it? The only thing I could do at that moment was exercise a bit to make myself hungrier. Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll. A carefree walk bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. These were the boonies after all. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends out here. It really was a nice place, peaceful and quiet. As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around. Ah, good day. Good day. Oh, you would be Mar-kun, I believe. My 2 companions exchanged greetings with everybody we ran across. All these passerby even knew my name. When did I become this famous? We passed 3 people, and when all 3 of them knew me, I started to feel a bit paranoid. It's a bit sad to say. Everybody knows everyone since there are so few people here in Hinamizawa. So that means when an unfamiliar face walks by, they automatically assume it's that Maibara fellow who just moved here? Yeah, that's how it works. It was a process of elimination you could only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. From now on, I better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking at a dirty magazine in the bookstore, I can expect all the villagers labeling me as a lech by the next day. Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with, especially not in the future. That's not the end of this nightmare. Of course I know them. The first person we met was Old Man Takuzo from the Makino bike shop. His hobbies are bonsai and playing the flute. Next we met the grocer's second son, Daisuke-kun. His hobby is sharpshooting. He hopes to become an ace sniper in the future. And the person we just met was Mio-san, the nurse from the clinic. Oh, Mio! Her hobbies are bird watching and photography. You know the names of everyone who passed by. And even their profiles? Seeing my surprise, Mio and Ran exchanged looks and burst into laughter. Man, these profile lovers. They're just like me. Well, yeah. We're not like the city where people hardly know their neighbors. Let's try it out. You there, who am I? You're Keiichi Maibara. You say some mean things, but you're actually a kind, shy person. It's been 3 weeks since you transferred to here. Your hobby is taking afternoon naps. Lately you switched over to wearing boxers, didn't you? That's enough, that's enough! Boxers. Enough of that. Apparently there's absolutely nothing you can keep hidden here. Hinamizawa was not a place to be trifled with. This feels more like you guys are showing me off rather than showing me around. That's right. We're parading around like this after all. Don't you all think so too? That Kei-chan is fitting right in here in Hinamizawa. The population in Hinamizawa is shrinking, so the villagers welcome anybody who's new here. I thought about brushing it off with something to the effect of "you're kidding me," but I held back. Had I ever greeted someone who had just moved into the city like this before? Thinking about that made me believe what they said wasn't a joke at all. We passed another person. Of course we were called out to again the same way. Oh my, good day. It's wonderful seeing you getting along. This lady here is Fujishima-san. Good day. Oh my, Maibara-kun, how wonderful for you, having a lovely girl on each arm. How are you? Getting used to life here? Instead of regurgitating a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an emphatic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was. I maybe should prepare 2 waters next week. Good. As I looked back over to Rena and Mion, they gave me a wink. So, now then. About time to have lunch, maybe? Maybe? Rena's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to forget. We both looked at each other. I'm a man. I'll do what I can. But it's just too much. It's fine, Kei-chan. Leave it to this old man. Mion has never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no less from the class representative. Rena, if we're going to eat, we might as well go somewhere with a good view. Wahaha. Yes! Good idea, I agree. Rena nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal. Cresting the top of a stone stairway, a shrine drawn straight out of my imagination appeared before us. It had worn down a bit through the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling. This here is the Furude Shrine. It's probably the place with the best view around. This place, be sure to remember it. On our next break, a festival will be held here. Oh, isn't it a bit too early in the season for a festival? The Watanakashi isn't a summer festival. Long ago, it used to be a celebration of the end of the winter. I was embarrassed for assuming that festivals had to be held in the summer. Now then, spread out the lunchboxes, and there. Various colored lunchboxes were placed one after the other on top of the plastic sheet. It sure did smell delicious. It was Rena's home cooking. It went without saying that it would be delicious. But is it even possible to finish all of this? Hey, Mion, it'll take more than just a good view to get this all down, you know. Good afternoon. It was Riku-chan and Satoko. I can never get sick of those giant ham fists. Some elements are upscaled on display modes above standard. I didn't even notice that bit. Why are they here? Neon grinned over at me. I see, this was her secret plan. To power in numbers. You have my thanks, Neon. Following up when all the pieces are in place is my specialty. We just had to come since there was such a commotion. What is the meaning of this? Take a look. It's time for lunch. Buffet style. A handmade gourmet meal by Rena. I can see that much. Why have you laid out a tarp on our property? The temple is public grounds. It's not yours. Keiichi's right. This is everyone's property. Wow, Rika-chan is such a good girl. Have a seat. Eat with us. After opening up a spot for Rika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Satoko. Hold on 1 second. Where's my spot? No spot for you and nothing for you to eat. Don't worry, there's some for you too. None. I'll eat all of hers. I will not allow that. Rika! Here, chopsticks. Both Satoko and I leapt at the boxes, having it out with each other. Man, really, Kei-chan, you're really good at leading people on. You might have a talent for this. Have a plate, one for me-chan and Rika-chan too. Rena whipped out pairs of chopsticks and paper plates. If we don't hurry, it'll all be eaten up. That's right, okay. Shall we commence this battle? Please eat a lot. There's enough for everyone. Rena said as she opened up a thermos. Just then I realized that this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating. They didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different. I will not allow you to have this hamburger. Using your elbow is against the rules, Satoko. Grabbing the back of my collar is also against the rules. It was a tough battle, blocking with her full momentum and an elbow in the opening moves. Satoko appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency with chopsticks proved to be fatal and gave me the upper hand. Ah, the last meatball! Satoko Hojo has been bested. Nom! Satoko and I amicably began choking at the same time, falling backwards and spasming. Rika-chan patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was actually stuck in my throat. Seeing that made Rena blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers were floating all around her. Mian advised Rena to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. This is how our meals usually go. I'd do anything in my power, just so things could stay like this. The intense battle calmed, and finally everyone reached a point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sigh. I do wonder why there are so few words in Japanese to praise how something tastes. Isn't it because the idea of togetherness during a meal didn't begin until the modern era? It seems that long ago, people ate in silence. It must have made the people preparing the food a bit sad, don't you think? It's probably because back then the people were busy even while eating and didn't have the time to compliment the flavor. I mean, also back then, food back then probably wasn't that tasty. Like, you might have had salt if you were lucky. That's just you. But, you know, just hearing that it's good makes me happy. My effort was worth it, I mean. She blushed a little as she said that. It was delicious. With absolutely perfect timing, Rika-chan struck around directly with praise. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence. Oh, oh. After Rena uttered an unintelligible noise, a ring of smoke rose from her head with an audible poof and a spring noise. Oh, Rika-chan, I'm gonna take you home. No, I mean, thank you. It was really delicious. Rena flushed red with excitement, embracing Rika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her, so hard you could almost hear it. I should slow down the words a bit more still. I end up reading too fast. To reward Rika-chan for her praise. Ta-da! These are special. 2 apple rabbits. After sticking toothpicks into them, she thrust them towards Rika-chan. After Rika-chan accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way. What is it, Satoko? What's with that defiant look? Has everyone prepared proper praise to receive apples from Rena-san? Don't push yourself. What kind of praise can you think up with your weak vocab? Well then, allow me to show you. After Satoko flashed me on me a defiant look, she changed the tone of her voice suddenly. Hey. So Rena ate John's lunch? Satoko thought it was yummy too. Satoko looked up at her proudly while talking cutesy. Well, how is that praise? It's not even persuasion by tears. That's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is a Rena limited special skill. She blushed and her head spun, waving around in circles. Don't fall for it, Rena! Oh. Of course that was asking for the impossible. Rena clumped Satoko and began rubbing her cheek against her. Cute! Satoko is so cute. Take you home? Oh! Swish. Stab. Push. Satoko was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them into her mouth, she looked over at Mion and me again with that defiant gaze. It took only 5 seconds to take down Rena. That's unfair, to think she had such a trick. If it upsets you so much, why not reward Rena-san with some praise? Damn it! That was a dirty trick. First of all, that wasn't even praise. Satoko, you think you've won with that, don't you? How about I show you guys something much better than your superficial gimmicks? That sounds great, Mion. What kind of trick is it? Kei-chan is going to be the one who does it. What? Ho. Why don't I have you show me then? That writhing of an old maid. The plan of attack she suggested was wicked, but it was the only thing we had to beat Satoko. After sipping my tea, I started talking very naturally and calmly. Perfectly. It really is good, isn't it? This is all freshly made, right? Ah, no. Actually, most of it, almost all of it, was frozen stuff. Then which ones did you make fresh? Well, it's embarrassing, do I really have to say? Must I? From the synergy of boy plus handmade lunchbox, her expression had melted into euphoria. I already know. This one, right? Huh? Rena turned an even deeper shade of red. The words, I can't believe it, practically written on her face. How can you tell? How? That I made it. Of course, Mion had told me beforehand. It's been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I waited a beat. Next would be the finisher. It had your smell. Silence enveloped the area. Rena, face still completely red, froze solid. With a small yelp, Satoko also blushed. Of course, I did too. I sure would like to try one of Rena's handmade apple rabbits, or something. Even if this was all because I was competing against Satoko, it felt like I had crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think. Then, at that moment, whoosh! It was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits. Please eat some, Keiichi-kun. There's plenty for you. Or, instantly dozens of the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over. Okay. Say, Keiichi-kun. My head was forcefully laid upon her lap, and even more apples were shoved into my mouth. While she was squealing, one apple after another was forced into my mouth. More and more apples. How about them apples, Satoko? Looks like we win. Kei-chan, that was a beautiful sacrifice. How's that, Satoko? This is our complete victory, isn't it? I can't believe it. Such trickery. It doesn't bother me at all. Satoko ground her teeth, mortified. We did it. I claimed victory as my consciousness drifted slowly away from me. At that time, Rena stopped her squealing as she suddenly realized something. Rika-chan, you're not eating it? Did the salt water make it too strong, maybe? Maybe. Looking over, Rika-chan had pulled the toothpick out of the apple rabbit, placed it in her cupped hand, and seemed to be at a loss for what to do. Poor Mr. Rabbit. I feel sorry for him. I want to save him. Whee! That was the sound of blood spurting from Rena's nose. Cute. Tonight, I will take you home. She shook sporadically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all the apples around me, gathered them up with a foot, and fixed them back on a plate. Now they're all just fine, okay? Here, I'll give them to you, Rika-chan. Okay? Okay? Rika-chan raised up Satoko's hand like a referee after having that plate of rabbit shoved to her. She whispered, "This is our victory." What? A comeback? Hi. Best hold you anymore. I just don't care anymore. Thus, my sacrifice ended up being in vain. It was a fun-filled, crazy day, but as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day really did come quickly. Later, Rena and Kei-chan, see you tomorrow. Thanks for today, Mion. I had a great time. See you tomorrow. Satoko and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion and ended up with just Rena and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home. Thanks for coming today, Keiichi-kun. Was it fun? Yeah, lots of fun. Almost feels like a waste to go home now. Ah, then, well. Would you mind taking a little detour, maybe? Maybe. A detour? Is it far? It's a bit of a walk, but it won't take long. Since we had been walking around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teasing Rena, I quietly nodded. Traversing a small path and up a small hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. This water's really loud. There, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated construction site came into view. No good, it's gone. A large heap of garbage spread out off towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recalled it being in the newspaper. It's been quite a while. I wonder what's here. When you say it's been a while, you mean the business you had here was with this garbage pile? It's not garbage. To me, it's a pile of treasure. Rena had already entered that well-known cute mode of hers. So that meant there was something cute here? Whoa, a new pile. I can't wait. She bounded up the unstable slope. I expect no less from a born and bred country girl. Hey, wait, I'm coming. Whoa! My city-raised self was completely pitiful. It's alright, just stay right there, Keiichi-kun. It won't take long. Rena kindly declined my accompaniment. Don't fall. Watch your step. I'm fine. This is nothing at all. Literally bounding up the heap of trash, Rena disappeared over the other side. I didn't like being left behind, but I was still pretty tired from the whole day, so I ended up just waiting. Without the lively runaround, the surrounding area quickly fell into silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a little sleepy. Just then, the sudden noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to somebody's presence. Startled, I turned around. Standing there was a typical-looking photographer. He spied at me through his camera. His body was tanned and fit. Oops. Oh my god, that camera is probably the best thing of him. Yeah. He spied over at me through his camera. His body was tanned and fit, but something about him seemed unreliable, and he had a bit of an aloof air about him. Well, it didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case. Whoa! You surprised me. Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line. I'm the one who's surprised here. My bad, my bad. I didn't mean to startle you. Are you from Hinamizawa? I gathered that he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious outlook, he introduced himself without my prompting. I'm Tomitake, freelance photographer. I come to Hinamizawa from time to time. I didn't ask you who you were. Quite rude to photograph someone without consent, one would think. My bad, my bad. I mainly photograph wild birds. They can't refuse, you see. So, what? You're saying I'm the same as the birds? No, well, you see, that image of a young man in the twilight was just picturesque. Oh, I pressed the right arrow instead of enter. I apologize for trying to take your picture without asking. Adults are pretty slick. All that annoyance I felt for being startled just flew away as he buttered me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy trying to get cozy with me, except it didn't seem that like Reina would be back soon. But this older guy, Tomitake-san, he didn't mind my cautious responses and continued rambling on by himself. Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finished now. Reina popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and waved her hand. You have someone with you? What would she be doing over there? That's why I wanted to know. Don't know. Maybe she's checking on that dismembered corpse that was out here long ago? Tomitake-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. Uh-oh, I responded like I would if I were talking with Ren and the others. It was quite a disturbing incident. I still haven't found one of the arms. Hahaha. Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you. You were waiting a while, I guess? I'd best leave you two lovebirds alone. Again, my apologies for startling you, Keiichi-kun. Tomitake-san chortled suggestively, then disappeared into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit. Keiichi-kun, are you angry? Why, I wonder. It wasn't Reina's fault, so I decided to just brush it off for now. How was it? Find a treasure trove? Oh, yes, so listen. You see? There was a Colonel Sanders doll. A Colonel Sanders doll? Oh, that thing. Those statues they always have out in front of that fried chicken place. That life-size dummy? Yes, Colonel Sanders. How cute. I want to take it home. I couldn't tell how she decides what's cute or not. Well, she seems to want it. It's garbage, right? No one would care if you just take it home, right? It's become the base of another pile. I can't dig it out easily. There's no lamppost over there, so it'll get dark pretty soon. Reina seemed quite down about finding a treasure and not being able to bring it back. I'll help you out, to repay you for that delicious picnic you prepared today. Oh, thank you. Birds heading home to roost proclaimed that nightfall would soon be upon us. Keiichi-kun's going to help. I could take Colonel Sanders home. Ow! Rena staggered along as if intoxicated in a dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state. Hey, Rena. Long ago, did something happen here? Seems they were building a dam here. I don't know the details, though. Oh. Just wondering if you knew about, an accident or something. I don't know. Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Rena quickly lightened her expression. Actually, I didn't live here until a year ago. Huh? You transferred here too? I was sure that. So you see, I don't really know much from before that. Sorry. Don't really know. Don't want to talk about it. That was the kind of feeling she gave me. Thinking about it, of course it would be like that. This wasn't the type of thing girls would enjoy talking about. It was quite a disturbing instant. It seems they hadn't been able to find one of the arms. It's just like Tomitaki-san said. I had a feeling only the Higurashi would know. Scene change. You ever seen new tips? So I'll read these and finish up for the day. Just so I don't kill my throat. My bar mansion. So his house, I guess. So Kei-chan, you're not stinking rich? What is this all of a sudden? Did I come to school in a limo before? How much do you get for a monthly allowance? About $10. That's actually a lot for back then, 83. Oh wait, monthly. Yeah, that's pretty dang good. My, that's a rather plebeian amount. His lunch is made up of normal stuff. He isn't rich. What are they talking about? He asked out of nowhere how much I get and then told that's a plebeian amount. Sorry. Rena seemed to pick up on my dubious expression and started giggling. Kei-chan, your house, it's pretty big, yeah? So the architecture has people all around Hinamiza while calling it the Maibara Manor, and it sort of stands out. Maibara Manor? Since the house is so big, everybody is gossiping, wondering exactly how rich you are. I see. Now I get it. Well, the front of it is huge. I see how it could cause some misunderstandings. From my deduction, I wager they spent too much money on building the house, and that is why they are now broke. Being broke, how very, very unfortunate. Rika-chan took pity on me as she patted my head. I go from being treated like a millionaire to a beggar. Yeah, sorry for ruining your imagination, but we aren't millionaires or poor. We're the image of a normal, average household. You can't call it normal with that huge house. The entranceway is all grand, and the gate is large enough for a large truck to get through. That's not normal at all. They do say the bigger your house, the more prosperous you are. The reason the house is so big is because Dad's studio is in it too. There are a bunch of different workshops, and a lot of his works are hung up in different places. All of them are huge too. For those reasons, the family actually uses only a third of the house for day-to-day living. He planned it out so people in cars could come in to see the gallery he opens up in the house someday. By the way, the entranceway Mion is talking about is the one for the studio, and it's normally sealed off. The entranceway the Maibara family actually uses is a very plain and simple one. The interior is much different from how it looks on the outside. I'd really like a chance to explore Kei-chan's house, claiming not to be rich but having a house like that. What could be hidden there? Dead bodies. Maybe there's something cute hidden? How? Cute dead bodies. They probably had no money to purchase furniture, so it's filled with Spartan rooms. If there are carpeted rooms, I would love to try rolling around on the floor. That'd be great. So great. I want to roll around too. Seems like their imaginations were just piling on. Well, sometime in the near future, it wouldn't be too bad to invite them all to my house. Dad is a sucker for the ladies, so I might even let them look around his studio. The cry of the Higurashi crescendoed as the sky towered over everything. It was hot, but the air was clear. It smelled like the beginning of summer. Now for the other tip. Oh, the murder dismemberment story. From the June something 1979 edition. So 4 years ago. The Shishibone City Okonomiya Police Station, June something late at night. Suspects were arrested on suspicion of murder and improper disposal of a corpse. The main offender has been added to wanted lists nationwide. According to our sources, the six suspects were at the Hinamizawa Dam construction site workroom on the blank at 9 p.m., where they are suspected to have assaulted and murdered the site overseer as a group, dismembering his body and hiding it. On the blank at 8 o'clock in the morning, a report was filled by the Shishibone City Hospital in which a male suspect alluded to having murdered Mr. When questioned at the police station, the individual confessed to the crime. Since a portion of the body was recovered at the location he gave, he was arrested that afternoon on suspicion of murder and mutilation of the corpse. The rest of the suspects were arrested the same day, but the main culprit is still at large. Police are currently on his trail. The motive is purported to be a drunken verbal dispute, during which he killed the victim in a fit of anger. However, as there are multiple inconsistencies with their testimonies, the investigation is ongoing. There's your first dark hint into Hinamizawa. Time to save. So save it on number 2. After that, there's 10 file things there. Hit continue, and we'll end for today. Maybe next week my throw will be even better. But for this one, whoa, that quits instantly. Wasn't expecting that. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy your weekends.